Shabbat Shalom, my friends. That's it. No more Shana Tova or Gema Tov or Tzom Kal or Chatima Tova or Chag Sameach or Moadim L'Simcha. Just Shabbat Shalom. It feels so good. Our Sedra is Bereshit, Genesis 1:1, the beginning of the beginning. So let me begin by telling you about one of the darkest, most closely guarded secrets of the rabbinate. After Simchat Torah services have concluded, after the last Hakafah, the circumambulation with the Torah, after the final festival Kiddush, after everyone else has gone home in many congregations, the clergy gather on the bima of their particular congregations, open up the ark, remove the white Torah mantles, and replace them with the regular mantles. And that work is always accompanied by that strange, wonderful music of the bells on the silver that adorn the Torah scrolls. The mood is mixed. The mood is one of relief, obviously, and gratitude for all of the teamwork required to make these 3 weeks in Tishrei significant for so many, many people. Exhaustion certainly after a period of high energy, high expectations, and hopefully high levels of spiritual richness. You better believe it. A favorite cantor of mine, someone I worked with, loved him some 50 years ago, would have his camper parked just outside of the synagogue. As soon as we finished changing the mantles the afternoon of Simchat Torah, he took his family on a brief road trip just to come down from the highs and to recharge the batteries. His favorite post-Sukkot trip in the van. For all of us, within the next few days, the regular synagogue programs of the year begin. We relish the normalcy of it all. Normal, yes, but incredibly challenging nonetheless. Aviva Zornberg's superb reflections on the book of Genesis are entitled The Beginning of Desire. Look for the book. It's great. The Beginnings of Desire. She reminds us that even as we annually enter the gateway of new beginnings, we must be aware in advance of what awaits us on the other side. Deception, murder, fraud, and unfaithfulness. The self-revealing presence of God made more powerful, more poignant by the self-induced and horribly disconcerting periodic disappearance of God. Promises made, promises broken, mysterious acts that speak of those spiritual worlds that we yearn to enter, and mysterious acts that cause a brother to slay a brother and a father to raise his knife above the prone body of his favored son. The power of creation expressed in words that literally have shaped all of Western civilization. The power of creation expressed in metaphors and images that in some cases have created impermeable barriers between science and faith, right there in the book of Genesis. God, as a Middle Eastern Brahma, the creator of all existence. God, as a Middle Eastern Shiva, bringing down destruction and death. God is the judge. God is the merciful one. God who brings a global flood. God who brought flaming lava upon Sodom and Gomorrah. God who yielded to Abraham's call for justice. And God whose demands appear cruel and unjust. Zornberg's final chapter tells us where we have to be in this world of new beginnings. She quotes part of a story by Italo Calvino, one of the most translated of all Italian authors in the 20th century. Calvino writes, "Not to interpret is impossible, just as refraining from thinking is impossible." Isn't that great? Zornberg adds her own words. exquisitely poised between a respect for what is hidden, that forbidding blank, and the need to translate, to understand that very enigma, places us in a radical, all but paralyzing enigma. The need to translate, to seek meaning through human discourse, remains the endless project of human life. I'm going to quote that again. The need to translate, to seek meaning through human discourse, remains the endless project of human life. I love this. And most certainly the endless project of all of us who wish to enter into dialogue with our own ancient text. Dear Shuni, our texts demand of us, seek God, all of you who would encounter holiness here. But Darsheni is also demanded of us. Dear Shuni, Darsheni, break free of the literal text. See the metaphors, see the parables, see the poetry for all that they are. Acknowledge the mystery and move forward toward the discovery of meaning and of purpose. That's what it means to study the book of Genesis. I'm struck by the fact that the entire Torah speaks in terms of sharp distinctions. You watch this? The biblical world is incredibly binary. There's one God. And then there are all of those other forces in the world toward which people might direct their worship, and those forces are no gods. God, no gods. There is Israel, and there are the Goyim, which means all of the other peoples. There's kosher, there's treif, there's holy, there are abominations, there is obedience, there is rebellion, binary. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. There was light, and there was darkness. There were waters above, and there were waters beneath. There was good, there was evil. There were stars in the sky, and there was the sand of the sea. My friends, those separations did not come without cost. The Midrash saw the sun and the moon in competition with each other. Both wanted to wear the more gloriously, brilliantly shining crown. The moon demanded of God that the sun be diminished, but instead, God diminished the moon. The moon began to suffer, and so God allowed the moon to bring light into the darkest night. The rabbis also teach that when the lower waters were separated from the higher waters, the lower waters wept in despair. Separation hurts. Here we now encounter yet another brilliant insight by Zornberg. Yes, the world begins with division. Division then yields pain and alienation. Pain and alienation give rise to conflict and to disintegration. And conflict and disintegration stir up within us a powerful yearning for reconciliation, for transformation, a yearning for a oneness which alone deserves the title one. In that sense, the Shema, the declaration of God's oneness, is the antidote to all of the divisions brought about through creation. Genesis teaches to come to know ourselves, we first have to become discrete and separate. But to transcend ourselves, we have to reach toward achdut, ultimate oneness, achdut, echad, oneness. Creation separates us from God. Creation separates the natural world from the world of human beings. Creation divides human beings into categories. Creation breeds rivalry and jealousy. And in doing so, ultimately gives rise to the passion for overcoming all differences. This is breathtaking. Apply for a moment this perspective on Genesis to the struggles of our own day. Oh, we are separated in so many ways. We are alienated from each other by countless patterns of difference: color, age, gender, religion, socioeconomic status, education, health. In such an environment, violence is born. Rivalries become the norm. Discrimination and prejudice win the day. Our existence is horizontal. We're interacting with all those differences. And then we begin to yearn for the vertical, for a vision of the world that is one of unification and not of separation. Genesis. In a sense, my friends, we who are born in separation are asked by the finest of our teachers to transcend separation, to see ourselves, all of us, in our similarities, not differences, to experience ourselves as part of a cosmic whole and not just as somehow a separate group, to abandon the horizontal in pursuit of an ultimate verticality. Well, wow. The Torah mantles are now back in their regular garb. We are at Breshit, at the beginning. We are asked literally, Chadesh Yamenu Kekedem, renew our days as of old. What does that mean? To that instant before creation when all was as it is meant to be, one, eternally one, humankind, the cosmos, one. Wow. Okay. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Before you rest, please hit share. Shabbat Shalom.